Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah and this is my first video with a real setup. I bought a tripod, I set up my actual camera, I tried to make everything look a little cute with the plant and the picture on the wall. So yeah, this is going to be my first video that I am trying to implement some things that I'm learning, and hopefully it goes well and looks good. So today I wanted to tell a story about something that happened to me last week. It was a situation where I stood up for myself in a way that I normally wouldn't, and I was proud of myself for doing it, and I just wanted to talk about it. So, here we go. I went over to this little consignment store in Charlottesville, and I had been there the day before and I tried on some things and looked around, and I found this dress that I really liked, but I didn't buy it because it was a little bit expensive. And so I didn't get it, and I went home and I thought about it, and then that night I decided I did want it, and I went back to the store the next day to go pick it up. So I go into the store and I don't look around at all. Like, I just go to the rack, I get the one dress, and I take it up to the counter. Now, this store has two owners, I guess, and when I was there the first day, I had met the one lady, and when I came back the second day, she said hi to me, she remembered me, you know, she was normal, everything was fine. But when I went back on the second day, the second owner was there as well, and she was behind the counter with the first lady, and I went up and I had the dress and I put it up on the counter, and I was like, oh, I came back for the dress, and the first lady was like, oh, great, okay, and she starts ringing me up. And then the second woman just kind of out of nowhere comes up to me and she grabs my wrist and she's holding my arm like this, and she's standing right next to me. And keep in mind, COVID is all at its peak right now. And so she's standing right next to me. She is wearing a mask, but I'm very uncomfortable that she's standing so close to me, and she's touching me, like skin to skin, touching my arm. And she grabs my arm and she pulls it up and she's like, oh my god, I love your tattoos. Like, she starts, she's being nice and she's being complimentary and asking me questions like, where did I get them done? Am I gonna get more? Blah, blah. And, she's trying to be nice, but like, she's touching me without my consent during COVID-19, standing right next to me. And so I was not comfortable with that at all. So I kind of just like took my arm back from her. And I just tried to answer her questions, but, step away a little bit and just, continue my transaction, pay for the dress, and leave. And the whole time I was standing there and like waiting to get my credit card back and then walking out, I was just thinking like, maybe I should say something to her. Like, it really upset me that happened. And I didn't know what to say. I felt really flustered, and so I just left. And I went outside and I sat in my car in the parking lot, and I sat in my car for probably like 10 minutes just trying to decide what to do, because I felt like I should say something, but I was nervous. Like, I didn't want to start a conflict with her. I didn't want her to get angry. I didn't know what to say. I felt like, oh, it's not a big deal, like, just get over it. And I just sat there going back and forth with myself for a long time, like a solid like 5 or 10 minutes. And I kept like turning my car off and getting my mask out of my purse, and saying like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. And then I would like turn the ignition off, and then I would be like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And I would take my mask off and stop. So I went back and forth for a long time. And the funny part about this was that there was this man in the shopping plaza who had a leaf blower. Like, he was there like working on cleaning up the plaza, and he was blowing leaves right in front of my car, and like, he could definitely just see me sitting there going back and forth, like literally talking to myself of like, what should I say, practicing what I was gonna say, like deciding, like a crazy person, just sitting there talking to myself. But after a while I decided like, you know what, it's better to just say something and stand up for myself. Like, if I'm sitting here thinking about it for 10 minutes, it's clearly bothering me, and so I would feel better if I just said something. but in a nice way, right? So I went back into the store, and the two of them were at the register, and they were like, oh, can we help you with something? And I said, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. And the woman, the one who had touched me, came back up, and she was still standing so close to me during this whole interaction, which, like, I think that she just, like, doesn't get it. Like, I don't think she was trying to do anything wrong. She just doesn't understand. But she was like, yeah, what's wrong? And I said, you know, I don't mean this in a bad way. I don't think you meant it in any sort of way, but I just wanted to let you know that a lot of times tattooed people don't like being touched without their consent by strangers. And then I said, also, with COVID going on, a lot of people have died. Like, this is a very scary illness, and it spreads by people being near each other and people touching each other. So I just think, like, during this period of COVID, like, it would probably be best if you didn't touch anyone that you don't know. And she took it so well. She apologized immediately. She was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you're absolutely right. I didn't even realize, blah, blah, blah. And she said, we have a bathroom in the back if you want to go back there and wash your hands. And she just kept apologizing. And I said, yeah, like, it's okay. You know, I decided I would rather just tell you because I didn't want to feel upset about it for the rest of the day and just be angry and, you know, leave a bad review online or something and never shop here again. Like, I'd rather just talk to you and tell you that, you know, you probably just didn't realize and now you know. And she was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I wasn't even thinking about it. And I walked out of that situation feeling really good. Like, I stood up for myself even though I was nervous about doing it. She handled it really well. She appreciated that I would tell her to her face that, you know, she did something that bothered me so that she can not do it again. And I just think that as a tattooed woman who this has happened to before, honestly, it's usually men using my tattoos as an excuse to talk to me or touch me or come close to me. But I have had it with women as well, where, you know, women are just interested, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you should not touch people that you don't know without their consent. You shouldn't touch people that you do know without their consent. And I think a lot of people just don't, their desire to talk to you and learn about your tattoos kind of overpowers regular, normal interactions. Like, most other people, you wouldn't just go up and grab them if you don't know them. I think this is something that happens to people that are pregnant a lot, or people that have a new baby, or people that have a dog. Like, people just come up to you and touch you or touch your dog, touch your baby, without asking, and that's really inappropriate. I don't know why these certain groups of people, we feel like, oh, I can just go and touch them. So all that is to say, that was something that was really hard for me, and it's something that I normally ignore and don't stand up for myself about, and I'm really glad that I did. And she handled it well, and I think she learned something, and hopefully she won't repeat this behavior. So I think it was positive for both of us. And I don't know, I just thought it would be kind of fun to share that story, especially to other tattooed women. If this happens to you, like, please stand up for yourself, and no one deserves to touch you without you being comfortable. That's something that I finally was able to vocalize. Yeah, so that's my first little story time for the channel. I hope that you enjoyed hearing it. I hope maybe you learned something from it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!